So as we've been looking at our travels in the journeys of a simple vacation in life as well as in our faith, we have looked at a couple things to help us along the way. We looked at first at the preparations we take to go on any journey, as well as how to prepare us to get to where we are going. Using the road map or the giant atlas or maps on your phones is one way to find how to get to Grandma's house. But how we navigate our faith is a totally different source that we learned comes in both analog and digital as well. And that is in our Bibles. We also discussed how the journey to faith is an open highway for any and all to travel. The road is always open to whoever is willing to travel that road. The road may feel bumpy and we may feel like we can run out of gas at any moment, but if you are grounded in the faith map of the Bible, you will get to your destination. We also talked about some of the expectations of the trip. Following the rules of the road and the form of travel you are taking is vital to getting there. But we also discussed that when we follow the rules, we are putting God and others before ourselves. So bouncing marbles off the back of the driver's head may not be our best bet for the driver or for us. Now, as we continue our journeys, one type of vacation I think stands out far and above all the others. We tend to call this the dream vacation. Sometimes this is called the dream vacation before you even go on the trip. And I think most of the time we call it after the trip has blown our minds in some way. In our family, we decided to let our kids choose where they would go as a family, or we would go as a family, on vacation for a graduation present to them. Kind of letting them choose their own dream vacation spot. My son chose New York City, and my daughter, with the help of my son, chose New Orleans, Louisiana. I think like every trip our family takes, and maybe yours, you plan on all these things that you're going to do, hopefully leaving time to do those things not planned. But when you get there, you think it would be cool to do this or that. I think, and maybe this is a me issue, when I look at something as a dream vacation before the journey, I really tend to get let down. And I'll give you an example. Now, I had been to New York before, New York City, and I was really excited to share the experience with my family. So we scheduled the vacation for the week of spring break of my son's senior year. It just so happened to coincide with St. Patrick's Day, which we thought would be kind of cool to be in New York City on St. Patrick's Day. Well, for my family, we decided to go down to Times Square to see the sights there. We thought it might get crazy to go up to Times Square on St. Patrick's Day in the afternoon, so we decided to go first thing in the morning. I would say it was probably around 7 a.m. When we got there, we were shocked. It was packed full, actual photo, of people, and they were literally dozens upon dozens of people lying around or staggering because they were totally drunk, celebrating the day that really hadn't even begun, which probably they were going to be sleeping off before the day even actually gets going. New Orleans was not as bad, but it was crowded. there, and a lot of intoxicated people there too as well. Now, you have to understand, both my wife and daughter are not really fans of big crowds, especially while you're trying to navigate through all that humanity in a group. They just didn't feel safe. Now, in both cities, we saw tons of stuff, tried to get to everything we planned, but time always seemed to run out before the list is complete. Doesn't it feel that way when you go on vacations? As a family, we had a blast. For me and my wife, not a dream vacation so much. Not really sure how my kids remember them. But this shows another thing. On a journey like this, not everyone enjoys the same things or sees things the same way. Another example here. In New Orleans, we went to the World War II Museum. For me, this is Disneyland. I love places like this, seeing and reading history. Well, this is not really a true joy for anybody else in my family. While they enjoyed it, they looked at stuff in the museum and moved on, whilst I had to read every plaque, telling you what the stuff was and what it did and how it was important. Every time I looked up, my family was gone. And so I would have to catch up to them, missing out on all these things I wanted to see. They enjoyed the journey just differently than I did. In Romans 12:3 it says this, For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourselves more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourselves with sober judgment in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you. Now, when I hear this, I think so many times we think we know exactly how to reach everyone and get them to enjoy the same things that you do or I do. God has blessed each of you to have your own minds, make your own decisions, to reach your destination. We all want the same destination of eternity, but none of us will take the same path or do the same things in getting there. I would say for me, in my mind, I think the dream vacation is not something achieved before the journey. We see it during or after the journey is taken. Before I talk about my dream vacation, I want to talk about a trip taken by Jesus and a few of his disciples that I think qualifies in the dream vacation category. And we can find this in our Bibles in Matthew 17, 1 through 9. So if you have your Bibles, we're in Matthew 17, 1 through 9. While you're finding it. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. There he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. Just then there appeared before them Moses and Elijah talking with Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, a bright cloud covered them, and a voice from the cloud said, This is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell face down to the ground, terrified. But Jesus came and touched them. Get up, he said. Don't be afraid. When they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus instructed them, Don't tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. So, Jesus takes Peter, James, and John on a little journey. Jesus is the trail master, taking these guys on a hike up a mountain. This is my wife's ideal journey. She loves the hiking. Me? Anyway, Jesus leads them to the top. And as the three disciples get to where Jesus is, they see something amazing. A sight they will never forget. Jesus is lit. Now, when I say lit, it's not that Jesus was cool and all. I mean, he is that. No, Jesus is glowing white. He had changed, transfigured right before their eyes. Now, me, you guys know me. I imagine they're rubbing their eyes to make sure they saw what they were seeing. And when they opened them back up, there was Moses and there's Elijah standing there. Two legit rock stars in the Jewish Rock and Roll Hall of Fame standing right there. Peter, I imagine, starstruck, volunteered to build Moses and Elijah and Jesus a tent for them. Almost like a fan asking for an autograph. But before he can grab his pen or drive a tent stake, they hear over the loudspeaker in the sky say, "This is my son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." God, like he did when Jesus was baptized, comes out booming to reiterate that this is his son. As a dad, I get this. Your kid does something outstanding. He scores a goal, touchdown, makes a great block, does a great pirouette on stage, and you're there. That's my kid. That's God claiming his kid. The three disciples, like Wayne and Garth, fall to their knees face down in my head saying, "We're not worthy. We're not worthy." And when they look back up, everything is back to normal. Jesus, all he is, still lit in the cool factor, is not lit in the glowing bright white factor. And Moses and Elijah, well, they're gone as well. If you are one of the three disciples, isn't this the trip? This makes a dream vacation in my eyes. That thing that happens in the trip to make this trip unforgettable. You see this and you want to tell everyone, right, what you saw. But once again, Jesus does it to them. He tells the disciples, "Hey, keep this on the down low for now, till I'm gone." Now, Jesus isn't telling them that they can never tell anybody. We know that this isn't the case, as we just read it to you. No, Jesus wanted them to wait for the proper time, as not to distract others from the mission at hand. Because this would probably be a distraction to others to hear about. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Moses. Am I the only one? Come on, dude, part a sea or something, man. That would be awesome. I think the dream vacation happens almost when you least expect it. So, I told you, I would tell you mine. My family and I were visiting her family in Michigan when we decided to take another excursion to go to Niagara Falls. Now, I can hear the tumblers in your head going, "Well, isn't that a dream vacation?" My answer to you would be no. Like New York and New Orleans, I see them as dream locations. Remember, our family experience in those cities really didn't go up to dream vacation worthy. So, we were going to go on the Canada side, and we're driving through Canada, which is cool and all. Not a lot of difference, except for I could never tell if I was speeding or going too slow, as all their speed limit signs were in kilometers. And I don't do metric, y'all. But you come into the town of Niagara Falls, blind to the falls themselves. We checked into the hotel, and I asked the clerk, hey, how far is it to where the falls are at? Because you could clearly hear them. Oh, I can't do a Canadian accent. Oh, they're about a mile and a half walk up the way. Eh? Poser? Just follow the signs. Cool! We decided to wait to take our luggage up, and we had a good parking spot, and decided to walk to the falls. Can I tell you, I was getting New York and New Orleans vibes as we made our way to the falls. The town was a true tourist trap. I mean, the Burger King had a giant Frankenstein eating a giant Whopper. At least I hope it was a Whopper, not a quarter pounder, because that would be kind of embarrassing. And the crowds, well, let's just say, there's a ton of people who like to see water falling. But as we walked, the falls kept getting louder and louder. We finally got up to this corner, and when we turned the corner, there they were. And immediately, the vacation changed. I think I kind of had that disciples moment. That moment. The falls were, to me, glorious. In that moment, everything before that, the touristy stuff, was forgotten. And I saw the wonders of God. I saw something only God could have made, and I was standing there, witnessing His wonder. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. While I'm standing there with my family, I was so grateful for the journey. Not everything was great. I didn't fully understand everything on the journey, but the journey was mine. Did my family get moved like I did? I'm not 100% sure. But to be honest, every journey you take is your journey. You get out of it what you want to or what you see in it. I think the disciples saw Jesus as truly God when He was lit. Did they understand fully what was to come? I don't think so. I think we get to, though, as we journey through the Bible. What the disciples didn't understand till afterwards, we get to understand now. That our journeys may all be different. And the roads we take go in different directions. But if we trust in God, believe in Jesus, we will all enjoy the dream vacation to eternity. And when you get there, find me. Because I'm telling you, I'm going to be lit. Maybe not the glowing kind. I don't think that. The overly excited, happy to see you kind? You bet. And that's cool.